Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to teach you the basics of how to play your Stamina Necromancer. This is the second video of my how to play series. I'm Alcast from alcasthq.com. Make sure to not forget to subscribe so you always stay up to date with Elder Scrolls Online content. If you're looking for a full build guide, make sure to check out my website. We have beginner setups, advanced setups, everything is there. Link in the description. This video has two parts. In the first part, I want to talk about the unique Necromancer abilities and how you can play as a stamina setup with two-hander, dual wield or bow. You actually have a lot of options. And in the second part, I want to talk about resource management because a lot of people have trouble sustaining on a Stamina Necromancer, but don't worry, we also have a solution for that. With this setup, I made sure that you can play solo. That's why I went with a two-hander bow setup, so you can dish out a lot of damage, get a lot of healing, and also get big shields while you fight trash packs. Now, one important thing, on a Stamina Necromancer in the class abilities, you have to be aware of that not all abilities are stamina abilities. So when we look at the Venom School, the base ability is Magicka, and once you level it up to the max, you can choose two morphs. One is a stamina ability because it costs stamina, and the other one is a magic ability because it costs Magicka. You want the stem ability. If you want to know more about it, we also do have a Stamina Necromancer beginner's guide on the website, which takes a slightly different approach with dual wield, so you can also get the hang of that. I will also talk about dual wield and bow after this setup. When we take a look at this setup, the main two abilities are Ruinous Scythe and Brawler. Ruinous Scythe can be found in Bone Tyrant and Brawler from the two-handed. It's one of the morphs. Now, why are these important? This one is your main heal. So every time I use this ability, I heal. And when I use Brawler, I get the big shield. So now you can see, you also get a damage shield that absorbs 5k damage for 6 seconds. Each enemy hit increases the shield strength by 50%. So I will take some damage so you can actually see the heal and the shield. So now I'm getting damaged by these monsters. I'm using Brawler. I get the 15k shield, and now I'm using Ruinous Scythe. You see, I heal for quite a lot. And these abilities both work for AoE, which is really amazing. Sometimes you get the 20k shield, and enemies just cannot touch you. Shields are very important in this game, especially when you play solo. Because when enemies can't touch your health, you're most of the time fine. That's why I say, you can get like a 20k shield and nobody's going to kill you, not even bosses. And if you need heals, you can use Ruinous Scythe, which is very easy to get because it's in the first spot in the active abilities of Bone Tyrant. Now, what are the other abilities that we have on the bar here? Blighted Blast Bones. So this one summons a skeleton, which then runs to the enemy and explodes. Kind of functions like a bomber. Whereas Venomous Skull is a single target ability that you can use on one enemy, which deals a lot of damage. Now, every third cast of this ability deals 20% increased damage. And then we have Reverse Slice, which is another two-hander ability, which we use for Execute. So once the enemy reaches about 30%, it becomes very useful, because it will deal an insane amount of Execute damage. Now you also have to remember, other enemies nearby take 65% of the damage. So you also do AoE damage with this. Now, let me quickly go and showcase this on these enemies. So I use the bomber. It goes up. It takes a while till it's on the enemy and then it explodes. Execute. This here is the skeleton. Each third cast should be a big skull. That's when you know the third cast happens. So yeah. Now this is only the front bar, keep in mind. We also do have a back bar, but before we go there, I want to talk about the ultimate. Flawless Dawnbreaker, which is from the Fighter's Guild. You always should have this on a stamina-based toon, because you gain more weapon damage when you have abilities slotted. So the ultimate itself gives us 5% weapon damage and the passive another 3. That's 8% more overall weapon damage. We gain ultimate when we kill Undead or Daedra, and we also do more damage against enemies with these abilities. Just to showcase you this, when I pop the Dawnbreaker on these, it deals a lot of direct damage, and then it also has a damage over time effect, and yeah, they just die at some point. That's the front bar. So you basically can do everything on your front bar: shield, heal, execute damage, single target damage, AoE. Everything is here that you need. The back bar on stamina toons is usually always a bow setup because of Endless Hail. You can activate this, swap to the front bar, and it will keep doing damage, which is really nice. And it deals a lot of single target and AoE damage, so you always want to make sure to have this active, even when you're fighting on the front bar. Skeletal Archer. This one lasts for 16 seconds, so you summon a skeleton. Deals damage, it can also take hits, and the longer it lasts, the more damage it does. When it dies, it creates a corpse on the ground. We can actually drain the corpse with this ability. Poison Injection is a pure single target ability. The lower the enemy's health, the more damage it will do. That's all in the bow skill line here. Necrotic Potency. So what this does is, it doesn't do any damage, but every time there is a dead monster on the ground or something like that, I will showcase it in a second, you can generate 6 ultimate points, which is a lot, trust me. So let's just take a look. I will drop my Hail, use this, and you see, it's so much damage, even I'm not doing anything right now. They all die. Now I can use my Necrotic Potency. Let me first use the Colossus maybe, so you can see my ultimate is basically empty. I drain. It goes up by quite a bit, even though I just used my ultimate. And my front bar ultimate is almost ready again. So this is a very powerful ability. Resolving Vigor. This is another heal. If the Scythe is not enough, you can also use this. Now, how can you obtain this? This is from the Alliance War. That means you need to do PvP to get this. As a new player, I usually recommend joining the Battlegrounds. Here in the... when you go to the group, then Battlegrounds, you can queue up. In the low-level Battlegrounds, you will get this very fast. And it's actually also fun. I recommend trying it out. It will not take long to get it, maybe 5-6 matches, and then you should already have it. And it's the most powerful stamina heal in the game. Now most of the times this with the shield is enough, so if you don't have it, don't worry. Pestilent Colossus was the ultimate you just saw before. It deals crazy amount of damage and also applies major vulnerability, so the enemies take 30% more damage from all your abilities. It's kinda nuts. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe. I will release more Elder Scrolls Online videos, and let me know in the comment section below what was your first experience with a Stamina Necromancer. Talking about a few important passives, Death Knell increases your critical strike chance in Execute. Very nice in combination with Reverse Slice. We have Dismember, which gives you more physical penetration. You just need to make sure to keep your Archer up to have this passive active. Then we also have increased damage over time, and Bone Tyrant has Last Gasp, which increases your health, which is important. I will talk in a second about that in the resource management section. So I chose a two-hander setup. If you want, you could run a rally as well. It gives you small heal over time, but also gives you major brutality, increasing your weapon damage by 20%. So a lot of people prefer that. You can get it from the potions, but potions are usually expensive. Dual wield. Because we don't have a shield like Brawler in dual wield, you want to get your mitigation through Deadly Cloak. which applies major evasion, reducing damage from AoE attacks by 25%. Very powerful. You could technically use Flying Blade or Shrouded Daggers to get your major brutality buff again. Whirling Blades is your AoE damage. Then we have Blood Craze as a single target dot and Bloodthirst as your single target damage. These two both also heal for a lot. Bow abilities. Lethal Arrow would be your single target skill. It hits like a truck but has a 1 second cast time. Draining Shot knocks enemies back and it heals you, and Acid Spray is your AoE ability. I do have bow, two-hander, dual-wield setup builds on the website, so I recommend checking them out there if you want a more in-depth guide. The most important thing, resource management. Make sure to have medium armor passives like Windwalker. You get extra stamina recovery, extra cost reduction. You need to make sure to have Undead Confederate because you get 200 extra stamina recovery. You want to make sure that you have your racial passives. If you're a Red Guard, you get so much extra sustain. Orc is more damage focused because usually I'm fine sustaining. All stamina based races work. I usually just go Orc because it's the most damage, but also a little bit tougher to sustain. But just to quickly showcase you, when I activate the potion and my archer is active, I have almost 2k stamina recovery. That's because I'm using the lava foot soup. I have 20 points in health. That allows me to run this. Gives me max stam and almost 500 stamina recovery. And I still have 16.4k health. You want to be around 16 to 17k health. If possible, that's a good amount to be. If you don't have champion points, you might be lower and then you want to run Dubious Cameron from. That's usually my go-to leveling food. You lose a little bit of recovery, but not a lot to be honest, like 200, and you lose a little bit max stamina, but it doesn't matter. You gain so much extra health, you will not die anymore. And this food has one advantage, it always scales. So no matter whether you're level 1, 25 or 50, it will always give the same amount of resources. Very powerful. The last thing, heavy attacks. If you do heavy attacks, it will restore a lot of resources. Oh, I forgot to mention the potion. Potions, it doesn't matter what potions you use as long as they're stamina based, because you want to get the major endurance, which increases your stam recovery by 20%. These here are quite expensive because they also give brutality and savagery. You could also use crown potions if you don't have any other. Now, heavy attacks are very powerful and people usually underestimate them. So when I do a heavy attack on an enemy, I get a lot of stamina back. It's like 2 to 3k stamina, so you really want to make sure to do heavy attacks if you run low on sustain. One more important thing, when you block, you do not recover any stamina. So you see now I have like 1500. I block, it drops. I block, it drops to 0. So you need to make sure not to constantly block. That's another useful tip. If you have any questions, you can always ask me on twitch.tv/alcasthq or in our community partner Discord. Link in the description below. If you're interested in Magic and Necromancer, I also do have a video for you right here. And if you want an easy way to level up your character without any headaches, check out the Dolmen leveling guide. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you later. Bye.